Cool. Okay, hello everyone. I think I know a bunch of you here, but if you don't know me, my name's Elliot, and my Twitter handle is RaisingCo. I'm a WordPress business owner, developer, maker, and also put conferences on. Did a conference called Word Camp Brighton in August. I'm going to do a quick run through about what a Word Camp is, some of the lessons I learned from it, and how you can do something like it. So here's a bit of sort of the marketing from the conference, which is 17th of August, just at the Clarendon Centre, which is just behind Brighton train station. We had you were at Word Camp Brighton, you were at the panel. Guy was there the year before. It's the third year we've done it. It's the second largest Word Camp in the UK, and we had just between 250 and 300 people sign up. Word Camp, the word, by the way, comes from bar camp, which is sort of a more, I might get this wrong, but I think it's like an informal conference setting. It's a bit of jargon, maybe we should get rid of it because it's a little bit sort of cliquey to use it, but that's what we're stuck with. Basically it's a WordPress conference. The main thing about the conference is to help foster local community, help encourage local speakers to get up to tell people what they know. In some ways, when you do sort of a speaking gig or a teaching gig, you can help improve yourself, but you also share knowledge, and it's nice to help others who are different rung of the ladder grow. So the big question is, yes, why would I do it? And I did it for free. In fact, everyone who got involved in the conference did it for free. They're all volunteers. The speakers didn't get paid. Those manning the front desks were volunteers, and the organisers didn't get paid either. So, good question if anyone's actually interested in bidding on a similar style conference. And you don't have to for WordPress. It could be for Drupal, or it could be for basketball, or competitive. I'm not going to go there. If you want to do a conference, there's lots of options. So, why would you do it? Well, the first obvious one is the cheesy one, which is helping other people grow. And there's also a selfish element to that, which is once you help somebody, you can actually learn yourself. I can't remember the quote off the top of my head, but I did see a pithy quote recently. I think it was Feynman. He said the best way to learn is to teach. And in a similar way, I think that's what you can get out of putting these conferences on. You can help grow yourself. It's also great for business. You can network, you can meet other people in your community, you can increase your authority. So people go, oh, that's Elliot, he's the one who did that conference in Brighton, and it's a breaks down barriers, and you can make some useful connections like that. So that's a sort of selfish, self-interested motivation. It's also, in my instance, for my line of work, it's WordPress. It's quite helpful to promote WordPress as an option for business owners and clients in the local community. It gives it some standing, and if I help improve WordPress, I help improve my business prospects. So there's that element. And also the final point, which was a bit of a theme for this conference, it's actually really healthy to meet other people in an industry which is so digital for your own mental health, and just to have a laugh, and just to meet people you might know online, you just know online. So I think that sort of social aspect should be underplayed. It's quite important, because I don't know about you, but I live in a very digital world. That can be get a bit much. So I'm going to run through a few of the things about how we ran the conference. It's only a lightning talk, so it's not very thorough. And if you have any questions at the end, just ask me. So how do we choose the schedule? Well, we did three types of three different things. We did workshops, talks, and panels. So we found some feedback from the last 2 years that the more techie stuff was it was too much crammed in like a 30-minute talk. So for not just the techie stuff, but for the more deeper learning stuff, we needed about 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. So we ran workshops this time in smaller classes so that there'd be more attention. I really recommend that. But they were oversubscribed and people wanted to go to them more. So perhaps we'll do even more workshops in the future. We did talks, we did lightning talks, like this kind of talk, which is 10, 15 minutes. And we did longer talks, which is half an hour. And both those talks had about 5 minutes Q&A at the end. And we did a panel for the first time this year, which you were on, weren't you, Meg? And that went, I think I was really impressed with the panels. I thought the feedback were the panels were one of the most enjoyable aspects, because it was just a little bit more free-flowing, a bit more interesting to get multiple perspectives on an issue rather than just somebody going up there and going, this is the way, which talks can sometimes be a bit too much like that. And yeah, so it was nice to get a bit of to and from the panels. We give a bit more time to the panels, and we had a moderator. We can highly recommend doing panels. So how do we choose the schedule? Well, first we did blind selection. So we asked people, would you like to come and talk? And when I say ask, I mean badgered them and annoyed them until they submitted their talk proposals. But we got all these talks into we use Airtable actually, which I highly recommend. It's like a good version of Google Spreadsheet. And then we go through and we remove all personal information, so that when we choose, we're not sort of biased by our bodies or by sort of unconscious biases that we're not sort of even thinking about. And then we use that ranking to choose what sort of conference we're going to have. And we had a theme which was mental health, and we used that as well to inform. We also then, when we revealed the personal information and realised that we all chose like exactly the same type of person, we used our sort of used a bit of balance to try and make it a bit more of a diverse conference. Yeah, I think we did a pretty good job on that. In fact, we had 15% gender split, which was quite rare in a tech conference. Obviously, that took a bit of engineering to encourage a more diverse audience, and to make sure like the typical speakers weren't just like flooding in. But I think we're all better for that. And obviously, I said we had the theme of mental health, so we also pinned, had a few sort of very specific talks that we thought would be quite relevant sort of along that theme. So that's how we chose the schedule. I'm going to say, what does inclusivity look like? This is where inclusivity gets banded around quite a lot, along with diversity. And I want to give some practical points about like what that actually translated to on the day. So the most important one, I think, was the fact that our conference was only £30. So anyone could afford to go that conference. If £30 was a stretch for whatever reason, because actually it's not just £30, it's the hotel, it's the food, it's the transport. We offered diversity tickets, 10 diversity tickets. So if you didn't even have to explain like why you wanted a diversity ticket, but we put them out there in good faith, so people could come if they wanted. That sort of subsidised by the rest of the conference. So that's the first one. Make it easy to go to by making it cheap. There's all these other costs. And then we did some more, perhaps I'd like to say more obvious stuff, but maybe it isn't obvious. We helped those with harder hearing by having hearing loops in the conference. We had captioning, so those who perhaps didn't speak English as their first language or were hard hearing could follow along quite well. We also had quiet rooms and breakout rooms. So if you're, we had some feedback from somebody who was autistic in the previous conference that they needed a space they could go, which was like no stimulus at all. So we had a quiet room and breakout rooms for people to sort of get a bit of downtime. You just like in our industry, in the tech industry, we've got lots of introverted people who just wanted a place where they could sort of breathe. In my line of work, you can go weeks without speaking to people, and then suddenly you're in a conference with 250 people, and it can get quite intense. So that's another example. Wheelchair accessible. Make sure there's lifts and that the whole conference is wheelchair accessible. These might sound like obvious things, but if you're putting on a conference, you will exclude a lot of people and make it quite make a bit of a bubble if you don't consider these things. We also offered speaker support and mentoring, because a lot of people would like to give a talk, but they say, I don't know what to talk about, or I'm not a very good speaker. So you can say, don't worry, you can speak to somebody who's spoken before, and that's really, really helpful for them. So I really recommend speaker support and mentoring. So yeah, that's some of the more tangible elements of what inclusivity looks like, and I think the most lovely thing I can say about inclusivity is just being friendly, being warm, being opening, and being listening. Because people, you don't necessarily know what's a problem for other people, so you just keep your ears open and try and be as forthright and compassionate when people say, "Oh, I'd like to," for example, on the day I had somebody come up to me and want to know where all the Wi-Fi routers were in the conference, because they had sensitivity to electromagnetic radiation. I didn't think that was a thing, and I'm fairly sure it isn't, but I'm not going to go and question that, and I'll just, fair enough, if that's what you want to know. Probably a hacker, actually, wasn't it? But that sort of open attitude can help quite a lot. Okay, and also we did other thing which is we put this under the banner of being inclusive, and it's perhaps a little bit controversial. The conference was fully vegan, and not everyone was very happy about that. In fact, that was probably one of the biggest bit of negative feedback we had. We had lots of people who loved it, but we had a lot of people who felt a little bit affronted by the fact that we were deciding what they were going to eat. But I would highly recommend that if you put a conference on, that it's a really cheap and simple way to make sure that you're inclusive for everyone. If you've got any number of people, you'll find that people eat very differently from what you eat. People have gluten intolerances or other dietary requirements, and if you've got to have 10 tables for each sort of different type of dietary requirement, it can get seriously complicated. So make it all vegan. Everyone can eat vegan food. There's no discrimination about whether you can eat a carrot or not. You can eat a carrot.
Vegan and gluten free.
And if you can't eat a carrot, we'll give you we have different sections. So the other thing is that vegetables are seriously cheaper than animal products. And if you want to be inclusive and keep the price down, then that's a really effective way of doing it. If we had meat, it would have probably doubled the price of the food. And we were laying on 3 meals throughout the conference, so you get lunch on both days and supper on the last day. So that helped massively keep to our £30 ticket. Obviously, people don't like to be told what. It wasn't done with a political agenda, but people read into a political agenda, so you have to be a little bit sensitive about that, and point them down to the local spa where they can buy some ham. Okay, so I'm going to talk about volunteers quickly. So here's us on the last day with all the volunteers up on stage. They really make the conference work, and it will happen. And the key here, I can't see if Neil's on there. No, he's not on there. But if you can get a good volunteer wrangler and make sure everyone's got a specific role, it can make the whole conference go a lot easier. They're all super enthusiastic. They've got free tickets. They get to go to a speaker meal the night before, and if you look after them, they'll look after you. Volunteering is actually a really interesting way of getting involved in different communities. We had people from Italy, from Germany, from Spain. Anna, where is she? Anna here. She didn't know anyone. She came all the way from Spain, volunteered, and hardly spoke any English. But she said she had such a lovely experience. You're automatically brought into a group. So it's really quite sweet, because if you've gone to another country and say, I want to help you, everyone's like, wow, that's lovely. Yes, we'll look after you. Come to the pub. We'll give you some food. We'll make sure you're all right. And you make a little family for a weekend. So if you ever think, I'd like to get involved in whatever conference, see if you can volunteer, because it's a good way to sort of fast track yourself into the heart of an organisation. Brings me to the organisers. Now these are the organisers of Word Camp Brighton, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. So make sure you're all friends. If you're going to organise something, make sure you're all friends, and that the responsibilities are quite balanced. We always make the mistake of making the lead. That's Laura here, do all the work. Don't do what we do. Try and split the responsibilities out a bit more, and that will help keep the pressure down, because there's a huge amount of pressure, especially with the money involved in putting something like this on. It all sort of comes at the end, so that's quite stressful. And yeah, it won't be easy, but it's a really good opportunity to make some good friends and put something on that's special. And the final thing I say, don't try and do everything on Slack or on the internet. Meet up face to face every week or so before the conference, and less regular in the 6 months prior. But make sure you do face to face time, because people can misread stuff on the internet, or people can just be like sort of just hiding what they're thinking, and then you see them face to face and they're having a little meltdown, and all they need to do is have a chat with each other. Or I was having meltdowns. I was having babies at the time, and it was like, so it was nice to have face-to-face time where people can go, don't worry, I'll help you. So now a quick I'm in 40 minutes, so we're right on time, aren't we? Some quick tips for organisers. How to get speakers to apply. So if you want to put a conference on, you need speakers or workshop or panelists. The best word I ever heard was flattenag. So if you want somebody to talk at your thing, do a flattenag. Oh, no, I don't mean it in a cynical way. Just say, I think you'd be a good speaker, and I think you should speak. And if you honestly think that, people will respond to that very well. And just have a chat with them about it. So say, look, I think you've got something to say. A lot of people underestimate their own confidence or ability, and they just need a little bit of encouragement. And they'll say, oh, I'm not sure how to do it. So don't worry, we've got speaker mentorships. I'll talk to you. I'll help you with your slides. So flattenag is a great way. Persist with them, ask them numerous times, and try to do that to get a diverse group of speakers. We had a chat with the organisers of Manchester, who've got 3 women speaking and 11 men speaking, and they were like, well, no women applied. And the truth is, they didn't go after and ask women to apply. And in a traditionally male environment, a lot of women I think would be put off by, I don't know, applying. So just talk to people, try and get them, be friendly, and try and get diverse, because otherwise it's the same old voices speaking. How to get people to attend? Get the speakers to help promote. That's the easiest way. Every speaker has their own little network, so if you can get them excited about it, they'll tell their network, and you get sort of a wildfire effect. Network at other events is a great one. So we'd go to Word Camp Europe or London, and we would build up hype, talking to other people. That's really important. And also just make it really good and be patient. These things take time. If you make a good event, people will tend to talk about it. So, 2019. This is a little pitch for everyone here. If you'd like to get involved and organise it, you'd be very welcome to join the organising team, or if you want to volunteer. We don't have to be part of a special club, or there's no little clique. If anyone wants to give their time and help, they'd be very welcome. And I hope I've sort of outlined some of the benefits it could be for you, even if I'm not really into WordPress. It could be a really beneficial. There's lots in the WordPress world. You can do anything from being a copywriter to event organizer to developer, designer. There's all sorts of different roles you can have in the WordPress world. So we'd love to have you in 2019 if you want. It also supports our local community in Brighton. We have Word Up Brighton at the last Monday of the month, and there's our Twitter handle. It's good to we've grown the Brighton community alongside Word Camp. They've gone together, and hopefully both feed into each other. If you're in Worthing and you're in WordPress, come along, it'll be really good. And perhaps in the future we'll even have a Word Up Worthing. That'd be really good and make it a lot easier for me. That's it. Any questions?
So the conference, is that entirely funded by the ticket sales, or do you have any sponsors for it?
Yeah, we do. We have. It's pretty much funded by the sponsors. That's how we managed to keep the price so low.
Okay.
And that's quite a tricky one to navigate.
Yeah.
We find that our sponsors are quite similar to hosting companies or a few agencies and a few products, but that's the way to get the money.
How do you decide on the date? Because August is one of those months that a lot of people are away, or...
Yeah, it turns out Europeans especially, antiquated holiday rules. We had loads of Europeans. We had lots of Europeans turn up. A lot of them were going, August, how dare you? So yeah, tricky one. There's loads of other conferences in the WordPress space, so we plotted them all out. August was a free month. Now we know why. We can move it other things, but also Brighton's quite nice in August. It's sunny. It goes with our whole sort of summery feel. So yeah, it's a tricky one. I think if you've got a niche like we have, just context matters.
Do you get any support from Automatic? Like
yeah, Automatic are they're global sponsors, and they have WooCommerce and Jetpack who sponsor every WordCamp. So they've done some big package. So yeah, they give.
So you kind of have a sponsor to begin with, if you like.
Right. Yeah, and actually, this is no WordPress specific, but they gave us a lot of support in our first year. We weren't. We ran at loss, about £2,000. So it wasn't a mega loss, but it's not a loss. And they supported us and they give you a bit of upfront cash to keep the cash flow going. But this year we were in profit, so you know we feed that back into the WordPress
Well, it's
Foundation.
good for them, they're investing in the community.
Right, and then they can do stuff like last year they did the first Word Camp. I never say the name right. Harare in Zimbabwe.
Oh, yeah.
So like they can invest in doing Word Camps in sort of up and coming destinations, cities, help foster new communities.
Did you get I forgot what you called them, your accessible tickets? There we go. University tickets.
Yeah, we had four of them go. Yeah, and yeah, somebody couldn't make it because they on the day they didn't want to, they couldn't come. And I just had a bit of they didn't come. So it's tricky. I don't know if that's the best way to encourage.
That's a nice way.
I think it's a nice way. Yeah. I mean, that's like the whole thing of this, all of this stuff. We're a bunch of volunteers thinking of ideas, and when you get the feedback, it's amazing. Interacting with the general public, you get all sorts of ideas coming, and the biggest reply that we can ever send to anyone who has feedback, negative feedback in particular, it's like, get involved. You don't like the way this has been done.
Yeah.
You've never had a better opportunity to change. Like for example, the vegan food. That was we did vegetarian last year, we did vegan this year. That was like a group decision. We've been to conferences where we've not been able to eat anything. We just get rubbish. So we'll do it all way. If people feel strongly that that's a negative thing,
Come and help us solve the problem.
But do you think because it's a conference held in Brighton, do you think that kind of helps the fact that you had all vegan food because there are so many vegan
we
eaters
totally
here?
make it a Brighton festival purposely. The fact that we had such a mental health focus. I think again it was a lot of these conferences are just dead heavy, and we opened with a talk about meditation and mindfulness, which people rolled their eyes at, but we had some really good response from it, and it sort of helps people see things that they wouldn't get to see. And being Brighton, we do get away with it a bit. But people know, it's a Brighton Word Camp. If you want to go to a more serious, I don't know if the word serious is right, but a different type of Word Camp, go to London or go to Manchester.
I have to say it was my favourite Word Camp that I've been to, and I've only got London to compare it to, but I've been to the London Word Camp 3 times now, and I learned more at the Brighton one, and had a really great time. And you mentioned Anna actually, who was in the picture, and I met her on the speakers dinner beforehand, and we just became friends. She was amazing. I was like, you came from Spain just to volunteer here, and so I really I'm very much pro Brighton.
So you're going to be an organiser next year?
Well, this is the thing, is that August is when I take my family holiday.
We can change it to September. Or whenever.
Okay, well maybe. I mean, I volunteered at the London one and I had a good time there.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, possibly. I'll think about it.
Okay, that'd be lovely, yeah. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks guys.